think, Martin, we can start. Let people join.
Yeah, let's do that. It's also a recorded session and we will share it afterwards for people who signed up, right?
Yes, we can. Okay, with that, let's start. So today we are going to look into the topic why retail and fashion industries must embrace SAP Integration Suite today, right? With that, we have our industry expert also here, and we can go through the what are the challenges that we have been facing in retail and fashion industry, and we can see what the solution that SAP Integration Suite can bring. Okay, with that, we'll go to our introduction slide. So we are Newways, a proud affiliate of McKinsey, and we specialize in delivering comprehensive SAP solutions, particularly for retail and fashion customers across the globe. Our mission is to empower businesses by transforming their digital landscape through innovative SAP services. From implementation to optimization, we work closely with our clients to ensure their SAP environment support both current and future growth. The key focus area for us is SAP integration. As business evolve, so does the need for seamless connectivity between systems. And that's where our expertise with SAP Integration Suite comes in. We help our organizations define and implement a robust integration strategies, ensuring their systems, both SAP and non-SAP, work together smoothly. Our services cover system connectivity and consultation. We have API development and management, and aligning integration with security, compliance, and governance standards. Beyond just connecting systems, we specialize in data transformation and mapping, ensuring that the data flows accurately and efficiently across the platforms. We also optimize integration performance so that the process remains fast, reliable, and scalable. And one of our most in-demand services that we are helping our customers with is SAP PIPO to the modern SAP Integration Suite migration. We provide end-to-end support throughout the migration journey, minimizing the risk and ensuring the connectivity. At Newways, our tagline is very simple, where we don't just deliver the integration, we build future-ready digital foundations tailored to your business needs. With that, we'll move on to the next slide where we are going to introduce our speakers. I am excited to introduce myself as an associate of pre-sales and delivery management within Center of Excellence for Integration AI Automation in McKinsey Consulting Incorporation. In this role, I focus on bridging innovation with execution, helping customers envision how advanced integration strategies and AI-driven automation can transform their business processes. And then ensuring seamless connectivity and delivery of those solutions. So my responsibility comes within understanding the client needs and architecting right solutions, and leading teams with a delivery measurable outcome. By combining pre-sales expertise with my delivery excellence, I aim to build trust, accelerate digital transformation, and ensure our customers achieve both immediate value and long-term scalability. So with that, I will also request Martin, who is one of our speakers, to introduce himself so we can proceed with the session. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you. Ameen, my name is Martin Printz, as indicated on the screen. I'm an associate partner here at Newways Mackinsell. I am heading up the data practice. So that includes data governance, as an example, using our MDG tool, iMDG, Intelligent MDG. I've been in the IT world ever since I graduated from university, right? And I've been exposed to many different industries, but in the last 15 plus years, I've mainly been focusing in the retail and fashion industry. And for the last 10 years, I've been preaching the word of data and data quality and the importance of that in the for our customers. So back to you, Ameen.
Thank you very much for that, Martin, and also thank you very much for your time today. So with that, we'll move on to the next slide, which is the agenda that we are going to see today. So today, Martin will help us to see what is going on with the retail and fashion industry, what are the trends, and what are the challenges being currently being focused, within that industry that can give a holistic view of what is happening in that industry. So from that, we'll have discuss why SAP Integration Suite and what are the capabilities and how SAP Integration Suite can address the issues that has been currently being faced by retail and fashion industries, right? And we also can see some use cases and what is the best migration strategy and the best practices within that. And we also have some time for live Q&A session. So when we say Q&A session, it's not that we are just going to hold that for last. If you have any questions in between, you can very well post. We'll be able to answer that. Whichever we are not able to answer due to some time constraint, probably we can reach out to you with the answers through email or some other means. So with that, let's move on to the next slide where we're gonna talk about retail and fashion industry trends. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we some of these things are brand new. Some of these things, as you may see, you might really have seen those before. But the reason why they're still being in the trends is that we don't really master these things, so they keep being relevant, right? If we look at our supply chain efficiency, this is an ongoing thing. I don't think we will ever really get there and say we completely nailed it because there are so many variables in that aspect. And suddenly, like currently geopolitics impact your supply chain, right? But there are things that we see again and again and again, right? And that is, the efficiency and the transparency in the supply chain, right? And it is, where is my stuff? Where is it exactly? When am I gonna get it? And so on and so forth, right? And some of the new things that we see as of recently and for the recent years with cotton and other products. Remember years back there were sportswear companies that had manufacturing done in not so nice places, right? And that came back and hurt them, right? So people are really start to think about the ethical supply chain as well. Where is the product actually coming from? Who actually manufactured this? Was it done under ethical and human conditions, right? So supply chain efficiency and transparency, it has been a trend for many years, and I'm sure it will continue for many years as well. So one of the new words kind of is the phygital, right? Physical and digital integration, right? And you might have started to see that is, you can take a picture of yourself and you can now see yourself in the dress, in the pair of pants, in the shoes, etc., right? And that has always been difficult. If you're buying something you need to wear online, what do I actually look like? And that has been some of the things that the physical presence of a store really is hard to beat, right? But you start to see that now with some companies, you can kind of envision yourself, like I would take a picture like you see here, and I would put myself in an outfit to see if that does that work for me, right? And these things are going to be better and better. And you might even notice between Ameen and myself, we have very different light. I'm sitting here in front of a screen, and now here in Jersey the sun is shining, right? So I get a really hard bright light, and Ameen is sitting more in a soft light, right? So can you have AI adjust your picture really to adjust that to get a common sense of what it would look out for you, right? But these are some of the exciting things. I mean, you see here on the picture with the AR goggles, the people are wearing. I think we're a little away from that yet, but we still start to see these things of how do we in the omni-channel online try to visualize what we can do. And it can also simply be more simple, right? It is you are in a store, right? You identify a customer, and you might be able to, customer goes into the fitting room, right? You know the customer already, and you might provide recommendations to the customer. You can actually see what have they bought online earlier. You might even more important, perhaps, or equally important, get the right size, right? There's nothing worse than giving them the wrong size because you sized them up and they were actually smaller or bigger than what you thought, right? So again, I touched a little bit like if I go online, right? If I go online to my favorite store, right? You can actually browse and you can get inspiration based on perhaps what you bought earlier, right? And again, can you tie that online purchase with the in-store purchases and actually see now, get a picture of what is the trend that this customer is buying, and now provide actually tailor recommendations for that specific customer, right? We also see, of course, automation, and this is just going to be more and more as technology evolves, right? I mean, we see now that the most advanced warehouses, the merchandise simply is coming to the packers, right? And I think we're going to see soon that it's going to be a fully automated packing and supply chain processes, right? I'm a big fan of the robo vacuums, right? And I see some of the models now can actually identify items and then put them into a bin, right? We are still in that space. We're a little off before we can completely handle that. But again, more and more automation in the supply chain processing of supply chain cleaning, vacuum robots. In the last 10, 15 years, we have moved a lot into automation, and that process will continue.
Got it. So with that, you want to move on to the next slide? You have anything else?
Yeah. So let's move to the next slide, right? And over here, we still have challenges, right? And there are way more challenges. But of course, what the challenges that I want to talk about today is, disparate systems, right? It has been something that we've been struggling with for many years, and many companies do that for various reasons, right? We're also going to talk about, the real-time inventory and order synchronization, the omni-channel customer experience, supply logistics, and network integration, along with the lifecycle management and master data, right? There's nothing rocket science under this. This is something we have seen forever. But again, we keep struggling with these things, right? But I do think, as we're going to see in this presentation as well, in this webinar, we are moving closer. We're moving closer and closer to something that is becoming really good. So on the next slide, let's go to the disparate systems. So in here, it's again, I talked about it a little before, like the 360-degree customer view, right? And that can take so many. It can take so many shapes. I gave an example before, like customer has an online profile. We know that that this guy Martin, he is shopping medium-sized tops, and he's a 30-32 in pants, right? So if I walk into my favorite store, why should the associate not be able to see that for me, right? And by the way, Martin, he loves blue, right? Everything he bought from us is blue. So don't show up and give him the pink shirt, because that's just not his style, right? So again, this customer cross-channel 360-degree view we keep talking about, I've seen it for many years and I still see it a lot. We still struggle with that integration, right? Sure. And that inconsistency we also see in the omni-channel experience, right? Let me outline just two scenarios for you, right? And I went out to my hardware store. I'm getting these pipe installation, and I need 10. They had 3. Yeah, we don't have them in stock, and they couldn't really tell me who else would have it, right? And I live in Denver, and Denver is a fairly big city area-wise, so you can easily spend 3-4 hours driving around. On the other hand, I went to my store, right, and I was looking for a pair of jeans, and guess what? These pair of jeans, they did not have that color in my size anymore. But the associate was very nice to say, you know what, jump into this color here. Let's just make sure that the fits you, right? And what they did is, I have another store in like 5 miles away. If you're okay with that, you can drive over there and pick them up yourself, or I can just send them immediately a ticket, and they're going to ship it to you in a couple of days. What works best for you, right? I was quite impressed by that. It was really a nice customer service in that way. And also, inventory management. Accurate inventory data is always key, right? Many of my customers, we share inventory data once a day or twice a day, but that's not really how we operate. We get trucks in every single time, every single day. We get merchandise coming in, we get merchandise coming out, right? And one of my earlier customers, was years back, they don't have a DC. They're in the jewelry business, right? It's small stuff. So they have essentially a part of their inventory in the store. They are simply shipping out to customers who buy online, right? And back then, they did not really have a good way. I mean, they would manually set those cutoff level, because if something kicks off, you don't want to enter the store, because online can get out of hand really quickly, right? But it was really inflexible, how they made that. And when you are inflexible, and if you are slow in getting your data right, then your decision making also gets slow, right? You have to be absolutely sure this is correct. So I'm going back and I'm checking with Ameen if my data is actually correct. Do you also see the same thing, right? Instead of having data readily available, just for consumption, right? And then we also see the operational inefficiencies, right? Manual data entry work. I visited a customer yesterday, and they said, I want to get rid of all clerical tasks, right? They provide very little value, and I want to get rid of that, right? So he wants to automate that using AI, right? And duplicate work, duplicate master data, we see that it still roams wild, absolutely, for that. So, and with the disparate system we talked about as well, we have lack of centralized data. Data is disparate in different systems. We have different information islands, and reporting and analytics. We choose certain data that we want to report on, and the rest we simply say, that's just too much. Let's just leave that.
Got it.
So on the next slide.
Next slide.
We talk about real-time inventory, and auto synchronization. So we talked already about the real-time inventory, how that is important, right? And I think this is where AI can be really, really, really help, right? Because again, with my customer I mentioned earlier, where they are shipping from the stores, right? Now you have a store in one end of the city, and you have a store in the other end of the city, and there's two different demographics, right? So this specific ring might sell better in this store than in the other store, right? Why would I keep the same inventory threshold level so we're not scalping, right? It would be much better if I could have AI adjust these levels for each item and simply optimize my my inventory, right? But of course, key in that with all these advanced systems is your inventory has to be accurate, right? That ties all the way back to your master data quality, your data quality that you use for these analytics, right? And then the entire order orchestration, right? Do I ship out more than I have? And I think a good example of that, for example, is rental car companies, right? There's even a Jerry Seinfeld episode of what a car reservation mean at these companies, right? That they simply take too many reservations. partly because people are just canceling or they don't show up, or people are returning it too late, right? And I'm sure there's trends in these systems, there are trends in these data that you can actually predict much, much better than they actually do today, right? We talked a little bit about store visibility, right? With my favorite store, right? That they apologized for the size not being available, but we found the size in a different color, and then they said, "Hey, you can go to this store, or I can have it shipped to your house." Right? Really great experience, and that is customer experience, right? Many companies sell the same thing. I got multiple hardware stores that can sell exactly the same fitting to a pipe, right? But what really differentiates one store for another, other than price, is really customer service, right? And it's something that we keep coming back to.
Got it.
So on the next slide, omni-channel and customer experience, right? When we have fragmented customer data, right? This is back again to my store example, right? Where customer walks into the store, and the associate immediately knows what trends are the customer looking for, and also what size they are, as an example. What colors do they prefer, right? And then also the entire promotion thing. It's funny because we had a client we were doing a data project for, and we were going into it was a supermarket chain. We went in there, and it said one price on the shelf label and the promotion, and then another thing rang up in the store, right, in the cash register. And of course, that was a perfect scenario for selling data software to these clients, right? And they actually acknowledged, yes, we have a big problem with this. It is a very manual process, and we often we load with Excel, and they get out of sync one way or another, and it's such a pain, right? And the return process is another thing, right? You buy it online, you sell it in the store. I buy something in store, I cannot return it online. All these, again, omni-channel, customer 360, multiple channels. How do I actually keep these things in sync? Like I said before, it's not new stuff, but we still struggle with these things today, right? So on the next slide, for the network integration, right? And this is where we have, again, with the disparate systems, right? We have the 3PL, like third-party logistics companies, right? That once I get, every time that I have another party in, it's a little bit like with a city with a river in it, right? I have some bridges, yes, but it's not the same as connecting on each side of the river, right? We have these bridges, and it also seems to be the same thing when we have these 3PLs. We simply have two different systems, right? And how do we make that integration better, right? And we have disconnected systems, we have ERP systems, warehouse management systems, transport systems, and all these generate data silos. They sit with a lot of information, but we don't have all that information at a central point where we can access it and really come up with some fantastic services, right? And again, manual processes. You know what? I wouldn't sell my stocks in the fax companies yet. We just see faxes everywhere. We see faxes a lot in shipping. I had to go to the doctor's office the other day in America, and they use faxes a lot. Fax is not dead, absolutely not. They might even one day get upgraded to the to email or file-based systems, right? But it provides a poor availability when we are exchanging data using these systems, right? And anybody who has looked at a fax system, looks at a fax, knows that it's really the deterioration of the quality gets really bad. So if you fax a document, a fax, nobody can really read it anymore, right? So it's impossible. Okay, I think the next slide is the last one, right? And here we talk a lot about, product lifecycle and master data management. And this is really where my heart is, because master data, that's where your data starts. Right? There's a lot of talk about data. You can go to Oracle conference, SAP conference, Microsoft Dynamic conference. They all talk about data and AI, of course. Data, 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 right? But data really starts with your master data, right? And that is so important to get that right, because yes, I can get create a product item very quickly with a transaction, right? But guess what? Now my chart of account perhaps was incorrect enter for a customer. I might have a wrong address for a vendor. Yeah, but we fixed that in the order, right? Yeah, but the next one does not. And then suddenly your order data, for which is the foundation, is one step up for your master data, that gets wrong. And now we have systems try to make sense of incorrect data that we fixed manually, is such a pain. On top, of course, that we manually have to go and change the data, right? So the manual data replication is just horrible, right? And it is slow. We just talked to a customer about, we did an analysis, right? You and I mean, we did a direct analysis of how much time does it take for you to create a new product, a new vendor, a new customer, right? And what we actually did not analyze in our, because it was a direct cost analysis, was the time to market, right? That I'm sitting here waiting on this email to be processed, right? Until I can move to the next step in my product setup, right? It just makes the entire thing slow when we set up new customers, set up new vendors, and new customers, right? And and then we put that into our systems, and we have multiple sources of truth. I have my ERP system that has all the logistics data. I have another system, the PIM system, that has the record of truth when it comes to perhaps the notes and images, right? But there are data that they share, and who is really the system of record for that, and how do we tie all this back together? That is such a pain, right? And and in that, on top of that, many companies still struggle with poor governance because they just haven't gotten to it yet. I mean, this is one of the things is we're just too busy to get to this, right? So we really need what you hear about me saying: lack of customer 360, online supply chain, poor data quality, disparate systems, right? There's kind of a common denominator in these scenarios, right? And that is lack of integration. And I think that's what you're going to help us with, I mean, if I'm not mistaken. I certainly hope you do, because we need some help here.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on to the next slide from here. Thank you very much, Martin. You have given a very broad information, detailed about the challenges that we have with the retail and fashion industry. And I'm sure, with SAP Integration Suite, we should be able to address those issues, and we can see that how that is being done and what all the capabilities that SAP Integration Suite has related to that. And with that, let's start, from why SAP Integration Suite? That's a first question that comes to our mind, right? So in today's digital world, every business is running on dozens of applications, and we all agree to that. Whether it's ERP, CRM, or e-commerce, supply chain tools, and so on. So the challenge is not having all these applications. The real challenge is actually it's not working together, right? And when system is sitting in silos, right, you end up with manual processes and inconsistent data and decision making that's always too late, right? So that's exactly where SAP Integration Suite comes in. Formally, it's SAP's enterprise grade integration platform as a service. Okay, we call it, IPAAS, right? IPAS, we can call it. But think of it like a central nervous system in in your business, and it connects everything, whether it's a cloud or it's on premise, or whether it's SAP or it's non SAP, and keeps information flowing smoothly and securely. So why does it matter for organizations today, to accept SAP Integration Suite, right? Let me break into five key points related to that. First is speed and agility, right? So what used to make or what used to take months in integration projects now can be done much faster, right? And that is where the pre-built connectors, APIs, and the content packages comes in within SAP Integration Suite. Thanks to no SAP Integration Suite that brings all these as handy packages for us. This means if you want to launch a sales, right? If you want to launch a sales on the channel, onboarding a supplier, and or enable a new customer experience, you can do it without usual or without usual delays, right? These packages can bring and speed up the process. And second is the flexibility. It does not one size fits all. That's a global rule that we have. The suite supports multiple integration styles, whether it's API or event-driven messaging, or whether it's B2B or EDI, or even data integration, right? So you get to choose right approach for each business case here. And the third one is like we have is visibility and control, right? And with centralized monitoring, IT teams can see what is happening in real time. With it can help to get the issues fixed quickly and get ensure compliance, right? And no more guessing games here with that. Just transparency and trust in your critical processes. And the fourth point again is a crucial, which is business and innovation. Sorry, business innovation, where this is where integration really shines, right? By connecting SAP and non-SAP system, companies can create seamless omni-channel customer journeys, enable real-time supply chain visibility, and even automate financial workflows. And integration becomes less about technology plumbing here. No, it's more about driving the business outcomes. And the fifth one that we have, which is the last one, is like future readiness. With its cloud first architecture and API led design and even AI driven capabilities within SAP Integration Suite, it keeps organization ready for new technologies and new business models and market disruptions. Plus, it supports the clean core strategy. And we just came to my mind, we are touching upon the clean core strategy. We are very soon going to have a webinar related to that on how SAP Integration Suite going to boost clean core strategy here. And we all expect you to join there to understand it better. So it will let you innovate on the edges without making ERP landscape messy. So in short, SAP Integration Suite is not just a middleware. It's a strategic enabler that helps business simplify the complexity and drive efficiency and deliver the connected experience that comes and partners with the expectations, right? And that's exactly why that's the heart of the heart of the modern intelligent enterprises that we have. With that,
I
we have
mean, there's
yeah,
a question from Rakshit. How does the
yes.
SAP Integration Suite differ from traditional middleware solutions?
Yes, so that's a very good question, Rakshit. It's when compared with other middleware solutions, right, or tools that we have, uh, for SAP Integration Suite, it's more like a cloud first iPaaS. It's a cloud first concept that supports multiple integration styles, whether it's APIs or events or B2B integration. And more importantly, here is SAP Integration Suite offers pre-built contents, and it also offers centralized governance, and it connects both SAP and non-SAP systems seamlessly, where most of the middleware doesn't do it, especially when it comes to pre-built content, right? It's not that most of these middlewares bring their ready or plug and play kind of things, okay, which can boost or make the things faster with the integrations. Hope I answered the question, Rakshit. And we also have next question. What benefits does API led integration bring to retail compared to batch based and manual integration? You must be a developer for sure. Okay, so in real it actually brings when it comes to real time data flow, where you have the batch, right? It has to wait for the batches, right? And the data will not move to the next level, or the integration that's supposed to happen will not happen until you get this batch executed. So so SAP integration suites boost up the real-time data flow, and it improve agility and faster onboarding to channels and vendors, right? And it reduce errors, and as well as it gives a better customer experience, right? And we were also actually talking to Martin with one of our customers, was expecting they want to remove the batch based processes to just to make sure that they avoid the idle time, right? So those are similar things that we wanted to bring, and that should get avoided with SAP integration suite. So if we have no more question, I think probably we can move on to the next slide. Okay. So Martin, probably some of the challenges that you mentioned, okay, in your previous slides. I believe that SAP Integration Suite should be able to answer and address most of those issues, or all of those issues that you have. Okay, along with that, along with the additional capabilities we have. So we can go, see one by one. Okay, from here to see that how SAP Integration Suite can address those. Okay, so with first thing is the omni-channel experience enablement, that you mentioned is one of those challenges. So customers today don't think in terms of online versus offline, right? So for them, it's just one brand and one journey, whether they are browsing on a mobile app or shopping on a website or walking to a physical store, right? So the experience has to be consistent. That's what the customer is looking for. So retailers can that truly enable omni-channel here, right, with an engagement to win the customers trust. That's most important, and the loyalty, because they are meeting shoppers exactly what they are, right? They are seeing everything in all the channels. They are seeing everything same. It shows the consistency, right? So that is where one of those capabilities comes in with SAP integration suite that can address your issues. And the second thing, this again one of those challenges that you mentioned, the real time inventory and order management, right? So nothing frustrates a customer more than finding a product is out of stock after they placed an order, right? So to avoid that, retailers need real-time visibility across warehouses and the stores and the marketplaces. With accurate data, they can fulfill orders faster, prevent overselling, and even support advanced model like click and connect and endless aisle and ship from store. So these are the models that can be enabled with this. And in other words, inventory does not sit at the background, right? It becomes a real competitive advantage here. With that, we'll move on to the next, which is vendor and supply chain collaboration. Fashion and retail thrive on complex global networks of suppliers and logistic partners. But too often, those networks are fragmented. By integrating the partners into a single ecosystem, retailers can gain end-to-end visibility and improve lead times, and also respond faster to the disruptions, right? So this kind of collaboration builds resilience, reduces cost, and ensure products reach customers on time and every time. That again comes the point of consistency here. It should be on time and it should be every time, where SAP integration suite can help with that. And the next thing is personalized engagement. customer engagement. Shoppers today, don't just want transactions; they want experience that feel personal, right? Using data from past purchases, browsing behavior, and loyalty programs, retailers can deliver, tailored recommendation, targeted offers, and even predictive engagement, right? The result is very good from here. With that, it will be like, you get a higher sales, and yes, but also deeper emotional connection between the customer and the brand. That's one more important thing. And the last thing that we want to see a touch upon with that is the product lifecycle management. This is one of those challenges that you mentioned, right? From design and sourcing to launch and retirement. Managing the product lifecycle efficiently is critical, right? And the strong governance and visibility ensure faster time to market, consistent product information across the channel, and quick adaptation of changing trends. That's most important too. That means innovation flows faster with fewer errors and delays. So when we bring all of these elements together, whether it's omni-channel experience, real-time inventory, supply chain collaboration, personalization, and product lifecycle management, right? We will build a retail ecosystem that is efficient, agile, and customer focused. With that, we also have some other capabilities that we have mentioned here, which is SAP Integration Suite can adopt, its algorithm of agile, and it can lower the IT complexity, and it's scalable when it to seasonal operations, right? And this happens when your year ends, where during the vacation times and holidays during that time, and it also brings the compliance and the data governance that we have. So these are we can call kind of capabilities that is not touching on those challenges that we discussed. So with that, any questions we have before we move on to the next slide?
There's nothing in the chat. I mean, nothing new.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
actually, just
yeah.
as I said that, Shankar Akansha, sorry, I think it was wrong. Why is the centralized monitoring and governance crucial in an enterprise integrated strategy?
Well, it enables a real-time visibility. That would I say, no, and the real-time visibility gives you, it helps you to get the faster troubleshooting as and when you see the real-time issues, right? And you can jump on to the troubleshooting, and it can also show you the where we are with the compliance, no, and with the security standards, and it can also reduce the business risk from the integration failures. So that is why we need a centralized monitoring here.
Mm.
Hope
There was another question from a jazz.
mm-hmm.
So if you have SAP systems and non-SAP systems, like in a hybrid setup, SAP Integration Suite does that apply both to SAP systems? Or sorry, does that apply to also for non-SAP systems, or is it inside the SAP ecosystem only?
Oh, where that question is? It says that how does SAP Integration Suite support both SAP and non-SAP systems in a
Yes.
hybrid? Got it. I got the question. Okay. Well, we have noticed that this is primarily happening through the pre-built connectors, okay, and also the open APIs and cloud and on-premise integration capabilities with SAP Integration Suite. And ensuring it ensures the interoperability and across the diverse application that we have noticed now between SAP and non-SAP systems with capability. Hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I think that's very important too. I mean, we keep talking about SAP all the time, but the word should really be Integration Suite SAP instead, right? Because it's really about the integration, non
Yes.
SAP. Actually, to follow up, if you're not running SAP, could you still use the Integration Suite? If you
Yes, we
would be,
can.
for example, a Microsoft Dynamics shop, could you still have great benefit out of the integration suite, SAP Integration
Yes.
Suite?
Yes,
Yeah,
we have some cases that with our customers that we have enabled integration with SAP Integration Suite on non-SAP systems. That uh, it comes with the most important thing here is that the pre-built connectors that comes handy and that helps a lot. So if you see in the discover process, right, or discover part in SAP Integration Suite, right, you can go ahead and find there are multiple, you can, there are hundreds of integration pre-built connectors available there. So you can use them or you can easily build one because it's all about integration, right? But it comes handy and easy with SAP. But about non-SAP, it's not quite difficult, but we can still able to make integrations with that. Yes.
I guess one of the things that you get a standard connector, right? And those standard connectors, I would assume that they get upgraded over time. As for example, if you have an interconnected with Shopify, I would expect that connector, the pre-built connector, to be updated as example Shopify or SAP gets new functionalities. Is that what you can expect?
We can expect that, and as well as one good thing with that is that whatever the existing integrations that we have available in SAP Integration Suite platform, you can actually take a copy of it, okay, and you can make a customization on top of it. Okay, it's not
Nice.
that you will find all the hundreds of functionalities available, but it will become easy for you to get that kind of a framework you are getting out of it, and you can customize it, right? It just by just clicking a button called copy, it comes to your environment. All you have to do is just quick customization that wherever you, because some places you just take it as a standard product, you can use it kind of a plug and play, but in some places you need customization for sure.
Yep.
Okay, with that I think that time we can move on to the next slide. So we are coming here with some use cases. Okay, the first use case that we are going to see is streamlined, direct to customer, right? That is one of those business models. So let's walk through this right now and see how SAP Integration Suite can help with that. So let's picture this. The brand uses Shopify as its main storefront, and behind the scenes they rely on SAP S/4HANA as ERP to manage the products and inventory and finance. And of course, multiple logistic partners are involved to get customer orders. Now, here is the challenge, right? Without proper integration, each of these systems, whether it's Shopify, ERP, and the logistic APIs, would sit in silos. That means manual data entry, delays in orders, and mismatched records, and inconsistent customer experience across the channels is happening. So this is exactly where SAP Integration Suite makes all the difference. It connects Shopify with SAP Integration, SAP S/4HANA, so every order placed online instantly flows into ERP, right? It automates fulfillment workflow, calling logistic providers APIs to trigger shipments without anyone lifting a finger. That you can just by just by it's just happening, autonomously, and uh, and it centralizes data, keeping order status and inventory, customer details updated across every platform is that it can do. Now let's talk about the outcome of it, right? So the first thing is that faster order processing and delivery that is going to happen with this, right? So what used to take hours or even days now happens in a now real, near real time, and fewer manual errors and less overhead, which means the no more re-entering data or reconciling mismatched records. That we are just avoiding the rework here totally, and consistent customer experience across the channels, right? It's more like we spoke about the omni channel, right? So whether the shopper buys from the website or from the mobile app or even from the any other social channel, the speed, accuracy, and the transparency remains the same. This is one of the prime use case I would call for omni-channel experience. So with that, you have any questions before we move on to the next slide?
There's nothing in the chat. Oh yeah, this is the second time I say that, and suddenly they come in. So in the direct to consumer scenario, how does real-time integration between Shopify ERP and logistics improve the customer experience, right? So this is tying back to what you just talked about, right?
Yep, yep. So, if you see that, right, with that integration, we can see, the orders flow instantly, right? And the entire fulfillment is automated, like as you mentioned, like no one is, keeping their hand on the flow. It's like happening, autonomously. And the inventory stays accurate, and the customer enjoys the fast and transparent and consistent experience, across the channels. So that is how, it helps for us, from the customer perspective and customer experience perspective. Hope I answered that question, Ritika. Oh, we got another question.
Yeah, from Gaurav. Does some data, does some sort of data standardization, I guess what he is asking is the data standardization required in these integrations?
I believe that SAP Integration Suite comes with data standardization already. Okay, but again, if you need any specific customization, yes, we'll require the data standardization. We can bring some of the algorithms related to that, and we can bring it. Yep. So with that, we can move on to the next slide, considering the time. Okay, the next question, next slide here, that is about automated vendor on board. Now let's shift our gears to talk about the challenges that we may, that many multiple brand retailers face, that is vendor onboarding, right? Even if you ever worked in a procurement or supply chain, you already know how painful that can be, from collecting vendor data, validating it, ensuring compliance, and then finally enabling them in in your ERP system. The process often drags, for weeks, and you during that time we are losing a lot of business there, right? So the real problem here is that traditionally the vendor onboarding was happening through manual and a fragmented way. Data comes in via spreadsheets and emails, approvals happen across multiple channels and differs. There are different teams involved here, to validate different pieces of information. So that is where the result, it delays, right? So and not just delays, there sometimes it errors, and it compliance risk also involved here. And when you are operating across multiple brands and multiple geographics, right, the the complexity just multiplies from there. Oh, within small, it's okay, but when you're growing, when you're scaling up, the issues arises a lot. So the bottom line here is onboarding become a bottleneck to scaling, vendor relationships and improving supply chain efficiency. So the solution that SAP Integration Suite brings here is like, with pre-built integration content, like ready to use iFlow templates that we have, business can automate the entire vendor onboarding journey, right? How it works, like, first thing is that vendor master is automatically captured, validated, and transferred into a required SAP format, right? That means the clean compliant data is, right from the day one. The second is the approvals are workflow driven. No more endless email chains. Managers receives the structured request, approve, digitally. It happens, exceptions get flagged, for quick resolution. There is no manual involvement there. Third thing is by connecting SAP S4 HANA with external vendor management systems and portals, you enable seamless data flow, right? And eliminating the need for manual hands off there. So these three things, is how it helps to, bring this. So the business, excuse me, the business outcome is like, you get the online onboarding time gets shrink, from weeks to days, and the data quality gets improved and the compliance are maintained, and vendors experience a smoother and more professional onboarding journey with the strengthens that going to strengthen the collaboration and builds a trust for the long term. So that is all about this use case. Excuse me. Any questions?
I don't. Oh, vendor onboarding. So it's from Amit. Vendor onboarding is traditionally slow. How does automation with SAP Integration Suite accelerate this process?
When the onboarding is traditionally slow, how does automation with SAP integration suite actually? Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, that is possible by automating the data capture. No, you automate the data capture, you validate it through SAP Integration Suite, and excuse me, and the approvals happens through automation here, and that enables the ERP onboarding the reduced uh, reduced time of vendor onboarding. That is how it's enabled, that is how it's boost, and it happens from week to days. Okay, so whatever happening what was taking weeks before, now through SAP Integration Suite, when you integrate it, it takes just days from there. And it also ensures not just that it's making fast, it ensures the data quality and also the compliance is maintained or not. That's most important things. Hope I answered the question.
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah. We are just running a little, few more minutes. Probably we can close it with the next slide. Okay, this is our last use case that we are going to say. Unlike mass retail, right? Luxury is all about exclusivity and personalization, and it's a kind of a white glove approach, right? We can call it. Customers don't judge by product; they expect a carefully curated journey here with luxury products. But here's the challenge: most brands struggle to unify data across their CRM, loyalty apps, and online behavior platforms, and also in-store systems as well. And when that happens, opportunities to engage customers with the right message at the right moment are missed. So that is where the challenge comes about. You think about it. A loyal customer is browsing on your online store, right? And naturally, they expect recommendation based on their past purchases and their in-store interactions and maybe their loyalty tire, right? with But if your systems are not connected, right, in real time, and they are not actually see online generic, right? And the luxury in the luxury world, that that that's a huge lost opportunity, right? Because this is a luxury product. You're selling a luxury product. Because without seamless data exchanges, brands can't deliver the sense of exclusivity that luxury customers are looking for. That is what they value most. How SAP Integration Suite helps here, right? It enables real-time integration across CRM and the loyalty programs with the POS systems or online analytics platform. With this connected ecosystem, brands gains a 360-degree customer view that we were talking about, one of those challenges, right, Martin? It gives a 360-degree customer view and combining both transactional and behavioral data. On top of that, the suite fuels AI-driven personalization engines that curate recommendations, suggest stylish ideas, and all those. So if you see the outcome of this, right, customers feels elevated, and no satisfaction become very touch point, feels personal, and it's relevant and it's also exclusive. Conversations and repeat purchases, that happens with this, okay, with these outcomes. And most importantly, in luxury fashion, right, brand loyalty strengthens. Customer no longer see themselves as buyers, they feel like valued members of an elite community and with services that is designed uniquely for them, right? So with that, any questions? So before we move on to the next one.
I almost don't dare to say it, but I don't think there is any. And every time I do say it,
This is
they do
happening
pop
four
up.
times.
I have 100% hit rate here.
I have
Okay,
been
so
counting it.
so it's a question from Isha, right? So in the luxury fashion use case that you just mentioned, right? How does a real data exchange create an elite experience for the customers? Right? I think you mentioned that. If I may add to that, actually, think about interactions. If you created reviews, right? If you created a review of a product. So, for example, I went to a sports retailer, right? Shopped in the same brand, and within the same brand, their sizes are inconsistent. Sometimes I'm a 30, sometimes I'm a 32, right? And imagine if you can bring that into the store associate can actually see this and guide me to say, you might want to try this because I have noticed that you do experience these these size fluctuations, right? So again, tying it back to what you said, I mean, the 360 experience for all our different systems that have customer interaction, bring it all together and have that at the either at the shopping experience online or in the store.
Got it. I think you answered Isha Zan's questions, right? From there.
I guess I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question, Isha. That's a very good question. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll move on to the next slide. That's going to be our last slide for the day. Oh, okay. That's the migration strategy best practices. Now we have all these capabilities in place for SAP Integration Suite. We agree to that. But without a clear strategy or no, and involving the best practices, we will not be able to achieve most of the benefits out of it, right? So we'll just touch upon the key best practices here, right? The first thing is define clear migration objectives. The very first step in all about clarity is of purpose. So what is the purpose that we have? Excuse me. Ask yourself, why are we migrating? Is it to cut cost, or is it to improve performance or strengthen security or unlock innovation? When your objectives are clear, they align the entire program with the business outcomes and help prioritize what matters the most. And without them, migrations risk becoming just technical check boxes, right? Delivering with a very little real value that is happening. And the second thing is conduct comprehensive assessment in inventory, and we should be able to help you. We have been doing with to our customers. We can help you to conduct comprehensive assessment and inventory. So to take stock to our current landscape, that means like it means the application integration dependencies and workloads. So here's the catch. Hidden dependencies and legacy customization often turn into the biggest roadblocks, right? A solid assessment is required that uncovers these risks, right, and gives you realistic effort estimates and helps sequence the migration in the right order. The third one we are going to see is target architecture. So we have to establish a target architecture. Once you know that you are going to start, what is your start point? It's time to define the north star. We call it north star. No, you have your target architecture. This is not just a technical diagram, it's a blueprint of your future within the ecosystem, right? It defines how the data will flow, how the integration will be handled, and how security will be handled with meeting the compliance, and the meeting the scalability, and how all this will be managed. With this within this place, right? You avoid the patchwork fixes in the future. If you are getting this done correctly, you don't need the patchwork in the future. And the fourth thing here is modernized instead of lift and shift. Just don't jump to do a lift and shift. Okay, so many organization, they are tempted to just lift and shift systems into the cloud, but that only carries inefficiencies, and it also carries it actually misses out the opportunities, to simplify the process, and retire redundant types, and adopt modern practices, like API first design and automation. Even AI driven analytics is missing, when we do the shift and sorry, lift and shift concept. And the second and the fifth one is enforce the robust testing and validation. This is across everywhere. No, it's not just integration. We have to do wherever we are building a system or making integration, right? So no migration should no ever feel like a gamble. No, that's why the rigorous testing comes, non-negotiable. That's very important. And plan your cutovers and coincidence, right? Finally, when the points of cutover comes, this is where you carefully planning the payoffs, define clear timelines, rollback options, and communicate protocols. For complex landscapes, coexistence models may be necessary, where old and new system run in parallel, right, for a while. It's kind of piloting. This ensures the continuity and reduce risk and give your teams, breathing room to adapt and all those. So with that, we are just closing with this session. If you have any question, we'll move on to the next slide. Muhammad Rashid is asking, why is defining clear migration objectives critical before starting a migration? Yes, it's a good question. Now, clear objectives are, aligned with IT, with business goals. It prevents primarily the scope creep and ensure migration delivers measurable value rather than becoming just a technical exercise. We have to it helps to do the measurable ways. That is why we are doing that. Any other questions before we end? Okay, you got another question.
I think that's important takeaway. I mean that it's really it's not just an IT exercise, right? Even though it might sound technical and everything, but it really needs to be rooted in business requirements and strategies that the company has. How do we want our customers to experience our company, and what is the customer experience we expect? Right, that's an example.
The next question is, what are the potential pitfalls of a lift and shift approach versus modernization during migration? Okay. Okay, so lift and shift carries no lot of inefficiencies, and it also carries the legacy processes, and it also and the technical depth into a new environment. It reduces the ROI that you have seen, okay, and it also messing up the opportunities to innovate. So we won't be able to bring some new technologies like AI stuff, when we are just doing a lift and shift. So we got another question. How can coexistence model? Okay, running old and new system parallel is okay. Well, they ensure business continuity, right? So what if your integration is no not working? So you can still work with your existing one, and it also for phased transitions, and also provide the fallback option if you arise any risk. It minimize the downtime, and it also minimize any disruptions there. And with that, we'll go to the last slide, and thank you very much all for your participation, and especially thank you very much, Martin, for your time and giving us valued knowledge, I would say, about the what's happening with the retail and fashion industries currently. And uh, if you would like to connect with us, you can reach out to us on contact@newways.com, and with related to SAP Integration Suite or any integration related to that. Uh, Thanks again. Thank you very much for your time. Any other questions you have, you can reach out to us through this contact, and we will be able to, we are happy to answer that. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Ameen. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a good day.
Yeah. Very nice.